Hi, this is Miss Felice. Let's talk about how to divide with decimals. Let's start with this word problem here to figure out how we can divide decimal numbers. There are 6 toy blocks lined up in a row. Together, the blocks are 7.8 centimeters long. How long is each block? Well, I know that we are going to want to do 7.8 divided by 6 because altogether they are 7.8 centimeters long, but 6 blocks in total. So 7.8 divided by 6 will tell me how long each block is. So when we set up this problem, we set it up the way that we do any division problem, 7.8 divided by 6. Now notice 6 is a whole number. My divisor is a whole number, but 7.8 is not. It is a decimal. Wherever the decimal is in this number, I'm going to bring it straight up into my answer. That's where it's going to go in my answer. Now I'm going to start dividing. 6 goes into 7 one time. 1 times 6 is 6. 7 minus 6 is 1. Bring down the next digit. 8. So now how many times does 6 go into 18? It goes in 3 times. 3 times 6 is 18. 18 minus 18 is 0. We are done. So each block is 1.3 centimeters long. Nice and easy. We just keep that decimal point in the same place because my divisor was a whole number. So everything was nice and easy for that one. However, it does get a little bit more complicated when your divisor is not a whole number. For example, this question right here. Leo drives his car 276.25 miles and uses 8.5 gallons of gas. I want to know, how many miles does Leo get per gallon? Well, to figure out how many miles Leo gets per gallon, we would need to divide his total miles by his total gallons used. So in this problem, we are going to need to do 276.25 divided by 8.5. Now here's where it gets just a little bit trickier. We can start dividing, but we're going to have an issue. How many times does 8.5 go into 2? Or how many times does 8.5 go into 27? I don't know. That's difficult because this is a decimal. So what we can do is create equivalent numbers. Instead of dividing 276.25 by 8.5, we can make this 8.5 a whole number by multiplying it by 10 and moving the decimal point over one time. But whatever I do to this number, I'm going to have to do the same thing to this number. I would also have to multiply 276.25 by 10 so that my decimal point gets moved over once. And so now we'll be dividing 2,762.5 by 85. So what does that look like in my division problem? I'm going to move this decimal point over until it's a whole number, 85. So I'll also have to move it over here, which means in my answer, it is now going to go right up here in between the 2 and the 5. Now I can divide, and what I'm dividing now is really, if you want to rewrite it, you can. You don't have to if you don't want to. 85 and 2,762.5. So that's what it looks like now. I moved that decimal point over until it became a whole number, but however many times I move it over here, I'm going to have to move it over the same number of times here. Now let's divide. 85, does 85 go into 2? Nope. Can 85 go into 27? Nope. What about 276? How many times can 85 go into 276? The answer is 3 times, because 3 times 85 is 255. 6 minus 5 is 1. 7 minus 5 is 2. I bring down my next digit. 212. How many times can 85 go into 212? It can go in 2 times, because 2 times 85 is 170. 2 minus 0 is 2. We're going to borrow from the 2 and turn this into an 11 so that we can do 11 minus 7, which is 4. And we're done subtracting, so now I can break down the next digit to make this a 425. How many times does 85 go into 425? It goes in 5 times evenly. And then we are done. So your answer is 32.5 miles per gallon. So we did that by moving over that decimal point until that divisor was a whole number. We can try another one of those to practice together. For example, right here, number 7, we have 18.3 divided by 6.1. Well, we would set up our problem by doing 18.3 divided by 6.1. We have an issue. 6.1 is not a whole number. I need to move this decimal point over 1 time to make it a whole number, to make it 61, which means I'm going to need to move this decimal point over 1 time to keep my numbers equivalent. So then I can bring my decimal point up in my answer, and now I can divide. 61 does not go into 1, so I'll put a 0. 61 cannot go into 18, so I'll put a 0. How many times does 61 go into 183? It goes in 3 times. 3 times 61 is 183. We subtract, and we are done. So there's my answer, 3, and there's nothing after the decimal, so that's 3 wholes. My answer is 3. One more for good measure. 40 divided by 2.5. Well, my divisor is not a whole number, so let's move over that decimal point until it is. I only have to move it over once, and now it turns into 25. I still need to move over my decimal point for this number, 40. 40 is the same thing as 40.0. They are equivalent. I'm going to put in my decimal and my 0. Now that I can see them, now I can move it over. So 40 is going to turn into 400. It'll go up top here in my answer, in my quotient. Now I can divide. 25 does not go into 4. 25 can go into 40 just 1 time. 1 times 25 is 25. We're going to borrow as we subtract. 10 minus 5 is 5. 3 minus 2 is 1. Now I can bring down my next digit. How many times does 25 go into 150? It goes in 6 times. 6 times 25 is 150. And that's it. I am done. So my answer, 40 divided by 2.5, the answer is 16. There you have it. I hope this video helps.